Well, good to have you back, and good that you're still watching the Policon this very evening. To all the viewers out there, this is Smart 24 Television, where we drive your business. And of course, today, our kind of conversations rotating around driving the business are rotating around the national budget allocation for the agriculture sector and trying to digest the allocation for the small-scale farmers and putting it into context in regards to the fact that where are the farmers' stance in regards to this national budget or this national cake. You get to realize we have agriculture since independence as our backbone. It contributes greatly if you're to look at it. Even the value addition industries that have been set up are adding value mainly to the agricultural products. It's as of late that we are getting into other manufacturing situations, but agriculture has forever been one of those key sectors in Uganda's economy. Well, my guests are coming in from ESAF, and the chairman and of course the vice chairperson as well are all in here as we continue with our kind of conversations. And Mr. Chairman, as we get into our final take and final conversations this evening, looking at the market access for the small scale farmers rather, how accessible are the markets for them? Has government done enough to make sure that small scale farmers access these markets? Before I even get into what ESAF is actually doing to ensure that at least farmers can tap into the available markets, but how is the market so far? And are there conditions favorable for the small scale farmers mainly?
I do not know whether I was happy or surprised that in the report, when the Minister of Finance was reporting about the commodities which contributed highly to the revenues in terms of export, they mentioned maize, sugar, coffee. And amongst these ones, if you look at maize superseded sugar in terms of the revenue which came to the country. But the question is, who exports these commodities or products? Is it the small scale farmers or is it the middlemen? So the over exploitation is where we shall start from. That if we are to look at the market access, there are very many things which need to be done. But these things starts from the time of harvesting. If we want to get better market for our produce and product, then a lot has to be done at the level of post-harvest handling. You remember one time last year when our neighbors banned our maize from going to their country. Kenya. And the milk, and even eggs. Some said it was political, but others believed, in fact, the maize needed to be looked into. Because how can the full government allow a product to cross the border to the next border when it is in that shape? What does the Uganda National Bureau of Standards do? Or who is supposed to regulate such? Who is responsible to make sure that what comes on the market is quality? And who is responsible to make sure that the producers, what they bring on the market is quality? Much as they say it is a combined effort for all of us, but there must be a lead. If it is policy implementation, who is not doing their work? The farmers have done their work, they have produced. But now the marketing aspect. So, if you spoke now and say there is no market for the farmers' produce, the one who is a policymaker will say, you don't understand where Uganda is. There is a greater demand of the produce from the farmers. But I'm telling you, when the farmer produce, when it is time for bumper harvest, the prices go down. The farmer gets price, the farmer loses out. But just after 1 month, the produce which the farmer sold will go up and the farmer will go again and buy it highly. So as we build the structures, if we are looking at the structures and the system, we need to look at both. The system itself of the marketing and the structures of how we market our produce. This is not very favorable and conducive to the producers. And by that being in that shape, much as we be producing more, the poverty levels will not go down, because you produce a lot and earn very little. The other time you could sell a sack, 100 kilograms of maize, and go and buy, and you could not buy even two, because some time back, maize had to fall down up to 200 shillings. So meaning that a bag of 100 kilograms would go at if it is 200 times 100, that's what, 20,000? Can you imagine? But right now, maize has never gone up that level. But even if at where it is, according to the basic needs and the commodity prices, still you find that you sell, but when you are going to buy a bar of soap at around 6,000, a kilo of sugar at around 5,000, the basic needs which are supposed to be used into the home of a farmer, at the end of the day, the farmer remains with little. So as we know, we are into the privatization, whereby they say after privatization, it is the demand which determines, the demand forces which determine the supply and demand determine the prices. But we need the regulations. Okay. This is what we talk about, the system. We need the marketing aspect be regulated. We have the East African Market Protocol, whereby it talks about the free movement of goods. And under the East African Treaty, where there is free movement of goods and people. But how free are these goods moving? Is it possible that the small-scale farmers even knows about the East African Market Protocol? I need to assure that they do not know. So the marketing of the farmers' produce is very important, but the marketeers, who are supposed to market, is not addressing the issues. And when we are talking about the real products to be on the market, should this produce be in which state? Produce in which state? Because we do not want again to be our produce reach Europe. Because we know we export horticulture, we export flowers, we export fish, we export these things, we export them to the European market, the Asia and whatever. But it will be very sad, like some time back, when our products reach the EU market and were supposed to be sent back and pay. So who is responsible? That's the question. How can such a brand happen? It will spoil the name of the people who are producing, and spoil the name of the country. So in relation to your question, is the market access? We were talking about market access. The market is there, okay, but it is not favorable. It is not favoring the farmer to earn out something which will be proud over the end of the day and say, yes, the last season I harvested this, I can now feel proud that this is what happened. Okay. There are still many things which are needed. And what is needed is that we call for what we call for cottage industries, the small scale industries, such that when the farmer produces tomato, okay, and is a bumper harvest for tomato, she is not forced to sell it off because it will go bad very fast. Government has done somehow in the West, because we have very many cooling plants, milk coolers, whereby some farmers can take their milk and can stay for some time. But it's not across the other country. Now in the region is like in northern Uganda, where fruits have. When it is bumper harvest for fruits, you find mangoes just dropping. When it is oranges just dropping. Are we not losing out? The tomato is being harvested and now you sell at a takeaway price because you cannot preserve it. So the cottage industries will help the farmers to add value their crops and sell when they have added value. It will help the women to have their to start the weaving, to improve on that kind of area, and they will earn money. That will be another area. We appreciate government has extended the power Because where there is power, when we talk about cottage industry, it can work. But still there is a problem of the price. I don't know how it's called, the price, but that is the price. How much per unit? How much is the unit? The unit is at 800, but when they add on the taxes, it goes at 1,000. Now, if we are looking at preserving the ecosystem and whatever, if you want to use electricity, then you cannot use electricity for cooking. You cannot use electricity to put a small-scale industry at the grassroots because you will not be able to pay the bill at the end of the month. So much as we go into the market chain and value chain, we should be looking at all aspects. The sustainability, what sustain is it to be, to continue, in that it is not a show. It happens sometime, then the other time you find it's not there. There are other factors which we need to look into, not only to focus on what is being sold or what is being produced and where it is sold. We have to look at the various environment to make sure that the marketing information and the marketing strategies and systems are affordable, available, accessible, and also friendly. This is what I can say on the area of marketing.
Okay. Yeah. Vice Chairperson, as we get into these conversations, market access, where do you think we should focus on? Where has government failed?
In regards to making marketplace available, the government has done. Okay. Like in the communities, you find their structures where the market is. But some communities still lack, because they sell their produce under trees, alongside roads, and so forth. But the problem is what is inside that market. When a farmer goes into that market, does this farmer come out happy? Yes, we have our local markets in our communities. Yes. You find the market due at the market gate is also not favoring the farmers. You find a farmer goes with a basin of maize and is charged almost a quarter of it. He will get from it. Now what profit will this farmer get? So that one there is really affecting the farmers so much. We have markets which are at the national level. Like for us, we are bordering South Sudan. The farmers can easily sell their produce in Sudan. But what does it cost to take your product from your farm to that market? A lot of transport costs. So that affects and it retards the farmers' effort in really developing. And also the regional, as Chair has said, those international markets, you find the small-scale farmer cannot, because there are a lot of tax in between before this farmer reaches that market. Besides that, the cost of production is really so high. You find the labor is high. The farm implements, there are so many tax levied on the farm implements, and the final person to pay is the farmer. Then that brings the cost of production very high, and when the farmer reaches in the market, again there is that tax. At the end of the day, the farmer gets little. When there is a lot of harvest, you find the middlemen now go to cheat the farmer at the farm gate. They are the ones determining the price. The farmer has nothing to say. Even the unit, some will come, like in my community, for soybean. There are those who will come and say, now I'm buying for you at 600. If you don't want, I go. Okay. You see? Yet he comes and sells a kilo at 3,000, 4,000. What kind of a difference is that? That is too much. So the market is not favorable to the small-scale farmers. Then when you come to issues of value addition, where you talk of processing and packaging and branding, those are things with a lot of cost. When you go for like a juice processing machine, when you ask the price, you find that the small scale farmer down there cannot manage. Yes, yet this is a farmer who has mango trees on his compound, and the mango is being wasted, but cannot manage to buy the simple machine to process these juice, which can be processed and be kept for like 2-3 days before it is being consumed. So the cost of production is high. The aspect of value addition is still very hard and expensive for the farmer. So okay, making the market system not favorable for the small scale farmer.
Okay, and now, Chairman, now let's get into the recommendations here. What are your recommendations? One, to the government, as we are summing up with our conversations, what do you think should be done in general to ensure small-scale farmers are heard and to ensure that in the next financial year, 2024-2025, things will not be repeated, these same mistakes won't be repeated? And well, of course, what advice could you give to the small-scale farmers as well?
The budget process starts as soon as it's read.
Yes.
The procedures are that they need to do consultations, and the consultation starts from the sub-county level, and also at the village levels, parish, then they can go and whatever, and then, until when it reaches that time to determine to the ministry. And every year, the Ministry of Finance releases what they call the medium-term expenditure, the MTF, medium-term expenditure framework paper. And after this one, they release what goes up the parish level, called the indicative planning figures. This is where there is a big problem. However much you want to have many things to be implemented at the parish level using government funding, they have a limit. If they are to plan on how much should be spent, they cannot go beyond the indicative planning figures, which you need to plan upon. And even at the sub-county, even at the district level, that kind of thing. And each sector is also given in that direction there. So to break the barrier, much as government plans its approaches, I would recommend that in the next financial year, let this be functional. And we have a holistic consultation of inclusivity of the issues and concerns and needs of the smallholder farmers or small-scale food producers be part of the priorities to be funded. We've spoken and spoken, but this time now we think it is now to walk the talk. We need the actions. We need the actions which will be felt at the grassroots to improve on the service delivery. We need the extension service providers, especially more so into the agriculture sector, to be empowered, all to increase on the number, to be facilitated. If all goes well, these highest commercial loans, which are already there, much as they say the parish development model has come at the parish level to help farmers to access loans which are not having interests, but it's only going to 100 million. If they are giving 1 million, how many people into the parish will receive? I will receive from the 100 million. Even if they are 100, even if they are 100, is the parish having only 100 people who are involved into the agricultural value chain? The answer is no. So in order to get all other people on board, we still call out the government to look backward and revitalize to have our farmers' bank. The cooperative bank could understand the farmers' issues. Other commercial banks believe that the farmers, the small-scale farmers, are too risky. But when that bank is there, it will understand our issues. The insurance companies will be able to work with that bank, which understands our challenges and risks. And then we get soft loans which have less interest that one is going to cure that issue of farmers being able to go for affordable loans which can help them improve on the production and productivity. Some people think that we are against mechanization. No. We are saying appropriate mechanization. You cannot say we are going to procure maybe 500 tractors for all the sub-counties in the country. A tractor cannot work in Kisoro. How will it be used in Kisoro? We need to look into these initiatives and see where is it needed and where this one cannot work. That's why we say we need appropriate mechanization. If it is working tractor, let us go for that. If it is animal traction, let us go for that. This one will ease the drudgery which happens into the farming sector. Then the other thing is that we call for the government to increase their intervention, especially in funding the agroecological approaches we've already proposed. This is the sustainable way of producing food which cannot harm, and when you say food, even livestock, even in Karamoja, their livestock is part of agroecology. That's their food. Elsewhere, in that everyone will be on board, and this will be the best way of having our country to grow high. My last recommendation would be that we, civil society, or farmers organization like our farmers organization, we don't just propose things we are not sure of. As an organization, as our small-scale farmers, we've tried out these things and they are working out. What is lacking that we are depending on those people who have interest in working with us. And these are the people who we call development partners. So we do this to showcase that this one works. Now, let the government come in and start from there to boost it up, to upscale it up, and we see. My last thing that most of the budget has been going to the conventional agriculture, industrial agricultural approach. This time, let us try both. Give money on this side of agroecology and give money on the other side. And we see which one takes precedence.
Oh, okay.
So those are some of the areas. But to the small-scale farmers,
okay.
As small-scale farmers, this is the time to stand up and tell our policy leaders at all levels what we know, what we do, in that we buy in their understanding that our approaches can work and can feed the world. Okay. We can feed Uganda ourselves. It becomes very sad when Egypt can can give Uganda food aid to feed its people. When the water comes from Uganda here, from River Nile starts from here, to go to Egypt, and they grow food and bring it back to Uganda? No. This shouldn't be the cause. It is us who should be feeding. Uganda can become again the food basket of Africa, as its name decides, for it being the Pearl of Africa.
All right, thank you very much, Chairman, for those recommendations, and thank you very much for your time. Lastly, Miss Margaret, your final remarks as we are winding up with our conversation.
Yeah, thank you so much. And my chair has spoken most of the recommendations. I participate in the international meetings, and whenever I go, yes, people talk of Uganda having the best food. The next meetings will be in Uganda, because there is a lot of food. If the small-scale farmers can produce the food, why don't the government support them in their initiatives? In our local language, we say the elephant's teeth. The elephant cannot get tired of its teeth. Okay. Because the teeth is long and outside and big. So let the government not get tired of us, the small-scale farmers, because we are the largest. Let them fulfill the Malabo Declaration of reaching 10%. I visited Rwanda. Matters, it is a small country, but when they reach that budget, the farmers really feel the support, yes, of the government. When you go deep down in the farmer groups, they really have that to say. We have our extension worker doing this, we have our government doing this, you see real change in them All of them sleep even in good houses. But when you visit our small-scale farmers' home, you really think they are not part of Uganda. So let the government not get tired of its people, its small-scale farmers. Let them make the budget up to 10%. And this 10% will reach the farmers. It should not remain in the boardroom. It should not remain for allowances. It should go to the farmer. How do you feel when you are a father and you consume the largest share of the home income and your child is there suffering? Don't you really feel have that mercy on the child? Let us have the small-scale farmers at heart. Anything without us is not for us. So let the government make us part of their planning process so that we benefit, we understand. This will support the initiative of small-scale farmers because that is from the hearts of the small-scale farmers. They own it, they understand it very well, and they will hold it with all their hands. So let the government support such initiatives, especially the small groups which do their savings. When they inject money there, not at Paris level, to that small group, and they will see effect in the small-scale farmers. Thank you so much.
All right.
Yes.
And many thanks for the time you've given us this evening to discuss matters to do with agriculture. Of course, I've been having the chairman of EFAS, and that is it EFAS?
ESAF.
Yes,
Yeah.
ESAF.
Yeah.
That is, I've actually been having the chairman of ESAF and the vice chairman of ESAF, and our conversations today have fully been looking at the budget allocations for the financial year 2023-2024, and in context with the allocations affecting or impacting the small-scale farmers in there. Well, of course, you can definitely give us your views in regards to the same topic. That is by following us onto our YouTube. You subscribe, that is Smart24 TV. And of course, you will also review this particular program in case you missed it or missed wherever we started or the conversations we've been having here today. But also, to all of you who want to watch Smart24 television wherever and whenever you are, you can download the Smart Digital app on the Google Play Store and the App Store anytime, and you'll be able to watch Smart24 television. I'm Joran Paul Sonko. You've been watching the Policon. Till next time, good evening and have a good week ahead.